if you don't mind, so we can start right with you, Sarah.
I'm Sarah Beth Johnson with Universal Storage Group, and I am over co-chair of membership, and I am over charity again this year. So, you know, we're going to need those donations. We got to make more than the last year. How much did we get the last year? 8, 7. What was our check? 7.
It's like 5,500. Yeah.
For the children.
So the year before that was about 600, 700. We got 5,500 last year. I want 10,000 this year.
Good job.
Hi, I'm Pete Whittingslow with PTI Security, and for the board I'll be helping with the social media, website, and all of that content, as well as membership as well.
Awesome.
I'm Glenn DeCoter with City Storage. I'm the co-head of the legislative committee. Thanks so much to Ann Ballard for really driving that home for us. We've got some important things happening this year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jim Berry, RV Development. I am co-chair of education, legislation, and I'm the treasurer.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what happens when you're new and you say, I'll do it.
I'm Mike Curtis, Storage Consulting and Marketing, Education Board.
Thank you.
John Arnold, I'm the chair of the vendor committee.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Again, if you're, we welcome your feedback, so please reach out to these great board members. They are committed to helping you, and we're taking all of your feedback into consideration. So thank you. And John, if you can come up to introduce. So again, welcome, and thank you all again for coming.
We have 2 sponsors today, SOS Security Systems and Marcus and Village have. I'd like to call Jason Bowman and Stacy Gorman up to talk a little about their project.
Afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? Good. Hey, my name is Jason Bowman. My company is SOS Systems, and I served on the board for GASSA, the board of directors, for 2 years, and it was a great learning experience. I wanted to really start by just thanking, you guys who have not only helped me grow educationally and internally, but helped my business grow. And I think that's what this is all about. For us vendors that are in here, and I see a lot of faces in here that are clients of mine. It's awesome, and it's cool to see that not only if over these past 17 years we've not only become clients and business partners, we've become friends. I mean, Wilson and I share a room sometimes when we go out of town. That king size bed. There's Jim Berry. We're going duck hunting in a couple weeks. So it's pretty cool to see something that that's come to fruition for me personally and helped me grow as a person, as a business person. And gain new friends, from this whole thing. I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time. Most of you know me. My company is SOS Systems. I've been personally doing self-storage for about 17 years now. We actually take from the design phase. We take raw architectural drawings and we lay out security systems for you. We do cameras, the video surveillance. We do the access control part of it, the PTI keypads, and we do burglar alarm, fire alarm, we do network data wiring, and a couple of new things that I'll talk about briefly, but just want to scroll through, and I didn't do anything real formal, guys. I took a couple of pictures that I had on my computer, and I wanted to just show you kind of what we do, how our product looks. I mean, at the end of the day, a camera's a camera's a camera, right? A keypad's a keypad's a keypad. Are there better manufacturers? Sure. But at the end of the day, I think what separates us and makes us better as a company is the details that we take. Are we perfect? No. But we always try our best to make the customer happy, and if they see something they don't like, we fix it. It is what it is. It's just business. So anyway, just going to scroll through a couple of these. This is how we start. We take a raw architectural design. This actually may be a Heath Mulkey storage structure design here. We lay out cameras. We even lay out the the office, where the monitors go, where the speakers go. Every component of the low voltage system is laid out before we even talk numbers. Once we get the blessing from the owner, we put numbers to it and we say, hey, this is what this is going to cost you. Here's just another. This is a project in Greenville, South Carolina that we're about to start up. I think this facility had, what, Jared, 100-something cameras, maybe 120 cameras. So this is a bigger job for us. On average in this world, I'd say 32 cameras. That sound about right, Jasmine? Per site, and that's just kind of an average. And it goes anywhere from 16 cameras a site to, like I said, 120. Keypads can be one keypad to open a gate, or it could be 10 keypads opening every door in the facility. Just kind of depends on the layout. This is something that, that Wilson and I actually came up with when he was with SpaceMax Self-Storage, an HDMI matrix layout. It sounds confusing or whatever, but they have all these monitors all over the place in this building, and we've got to find a way from our video recorders to have all those camera feeds shown. So just something, this is just kind of showing you what we do. Here's just a picture of a PTI keypad, which is one of our biggest manufacturers that we install. And Pete Whittinglow is here as well on the board now. Congrats, Pete. This is a typical head end. This is what our work looks like at the end of the day. We don't have just a bunch of wires strewn everywhere and bits and pieces and screws and strips of wire on the floor. This is one of our final products. If you notice, everything is very structured. In the low voltage world, just FYI, we don't have to have everything in conduit. So we've gotten pretty good at hiding all of our wire through the facility. You can only imagine some of these facilities, for instance, one that has 100 cameras, the bundle of wire that comes into the office area is this big. I mean, it's as big as a volleyball. So it's an art in itself just to hide wire in these self-storage facilities and not cut it, because everything is sharp in this world. Just another example of a head end. We do the racks. This facility had 5 DVRs. We put uninterruptible power supplies, UPSs. You see the PTI, there's alarm panels, et cetera, et cetera. Just another example of one of our head ends. These are multi-story facilities, but some of our single-story facilities, head ends look just like this. Here's another SpaceMax. It's kind of cool because they take the monitors and they actually embed them in their accent walls, and it just looks real nice and clean when the customer goes in. They get a real sense of security, and that's kind of half of my battle is yes, I secure your property and we protect lives with the systems that we install. But at the end of the day, I understand the marketing aspects of it as well, and we try to design our systems to be a good mix of the marketing as well as the protection aspect of it. So, just another head end. These are all different facilities. We also do the fire alarm systems. You multi-storage owners know that every building's got to have a fire alarm system now, so something we do as well that a lot of people didn't know. Another site where we actually powder coated the cameras to match their lighting fixtures outside, which was kind of cool. Honestly, I don't remember what it cost, 20 bucks a camera or whatever. It wasn't expensive, and it looks really cool on the outside. Everything is matching, and just came out to be a nice facility. Here's some of the line card that we have. It's double this in real life. We've got a ton of different manufacturers, software vendors, yada yada, that we represent. Here's some of the major ones. Here's just a handful of our clients. We work with pretty much all the major REITs, but we also work with the individual owners, and people that own 1, 2, 5 facilities. It's the same to me. It doesn't make a difference. Oh, and this is my little gidget. This is my little 8-pound fourth love of my life. After my wife and 2 kids. Thanks, Emily, for putting that in there. And that's really it. Any questions on anything?
Have you installed any e-locks here in Georgia yet?
We have. Matter of fact, we did our first ones at Jim Berry's site. I think, how many we'd end up with, Jim? 120, 150? 140. So 140, there you go. Yes, so that's getting prominent now. The electronic locks and electronic hardware. PTI has one. Devin here with Janice, they have a system. Potato, doesn't matter to me. They're cool because it's something cool technology-wise in the self-storage world, which we just haven't had in a long time. I'll tell you something, excuse me, something else that's cool is that Wiser. I don't know if you saw that line card, W-I-Z-R. It's something that PTI has just taken over. And it's something that my industry, personally, in the security world, has been looking for a long time. It's a video analytics platform. Does anybody know what that is? Not really. Thank you, Wilson. Video analytics, basically, so I take this picture on my screen and that I'm recording this video and I can do stuff with it. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, if I've got a box sitting over there by the window and I want to know the exact time that box moved, I create a video analytics or an algorithm to tell me when that box moved. Now, sounds complicated, yada yada, it's not. It's very easy. You draw a box around it in the software, put the parameters, say, hey, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., I want to know if this box ever moves, and it'll tell you. It'll shoot you a text, it'll shoot you a email, whatever. So just something new again. You know, in an industry where there hadn't been a whole lot of technologies, things are starting to move that way. You know, another analytic, if you just want to know the number of people that walk through your front door, I mean, who doesn't want to know that as an owner? Hey, we had 5 people or we had 50 people today, you know? Just things like that. So our industry is starting to catch on, the self-storage industry is starting to catch on to the security world, and it's kind of cool watching those technologies intermix.
Jason, how are your systems set up for power outages?
Well, we do UPS, we do uninterruptible power supplies, UPSs, and we try to do 4 hours. And that's the standard in our industry is actually only 2 hours, because you hope that power goes out and then it's on within 10 or 15 minutes, right? It's just a bleed. We try to get 4 hours out of power. Our gate controls and our keypads have more than that. We try to get about a day out of those. So if that power goes out, I can still enter my facility with the keypads for at least a day. Not going to wood. Good question. I can't hear you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
You said that fire alarm systems are law. It's a law.
That's correct. Any new facility.
And outdoor?
No, that's just for indoor climate control facilities. Yeah.
And not outdoor?
Interior. Not outdoor. No. If you can gain entry from the outside and you don't have any corridors going through the middle, you don't require a fire alarm. Good question. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Thank you, GASSA, for letting me be a part of it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jason, and now from SOS Systems, and now Stacy Gorman with the Gorman Group in Parks and Chapel.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think most of the people here I know, but if you don't know me, I'm Stacy Gorman. I'm a real estate broker, been doing this about 15 years, and I've got a group with me now, Mike McManus right here, and Craig Gorman, the second back table there, plus a few more back in the office. And we represent buyers and sellers throughout the Southeast. One of the things we do for North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia are a rent survey book. And if you didn't get one, I've got some extras in the back here. I'd be happy to give you one. Additionally, the National Self-Storage Group just came out with a 2019 overview on the whole nationwide market, as well as one specifically for Atlanta. Those are not out in print yet, or I would have brought them with me, but just let me know. I'll have them available on my website, as well as my emails, or you can just contact me and I can send one to you too. So, being a sales rep, I am always trying to increase value for everybody when they're ready to sell their property. So I have a few slides here on the 5 quickest ways to improve your value. And we'll just go through those quickly. If anyone has any questions or want to talk to me about the market, I'm happy to meet separately at another time. Okay. All right, so many of these you probably know, but it's always good to have a refresher. Rental rate management. If you're not doing it already, you should be. You want to have competitive rates. You want to change those rates based on the demand. And you want to vary them based on what your occupancy is. So in the old days, we used to say we're at 85% occupancy, let's raise all the rates. Well, if your 10 by 10s are at 95% occupancy, you can raise those a whole lot more than your 5 by 5s that are at 50% occupancy. And you also vary based on the floor versus based on non-climate, climate control, et cetera, et cetera. So rental rate management. Increase collections. If you're not paying attention to your collections, you definitely should, especially if you're facility is full. I value a lot of properties where they've got high occupancy, but also high collections. Well, if you're not actually collecting that money, you've got units you could be selling to somebody else, and it's just you're just throwing money away, basically. So if you're not getting your collections at all, you want to get rid of those tenants. If you're getting your collections and late fees, well, then it's a different story. So you just have to look at how much time you're spending in getting that additional $10 or whatever your late fee is. And negotiating on your past dues. Whenever I sell a property, if there's a lot of past dues, I talk to the owner and say, oh, you want to try and get these all cleaned up before you sell, and take, even if you get 50% on the dollar, at least you've got something for those 6, 7, 8 months of past due that you didn't collect. Ancillary income. I know everybody has heard about tenant insurance, and that has really been a big, strong line item we've seen across all facilities, whether you're a small 100-unit or a large 500-unit. Tenant insurance really helps the client in making sure that whatever goods they have stored, they know are protected. Most tenants don't know that their goods are not protected based on the insurance. I remember this back from the apartment rental days. When I was 20 or so, I rented an apartment. I never got apartment insurance. I didn't even know it was something to do. Nobody told me about it. So what we see with the rental insurance, it really is important for the manager to understand the importance of it and be able to talk to a customer about it. In fact, I think a lot of operators now, quote unquote, demand insurance, whether they bring in proof that they have insurance or sell insurance through the facility itself. You've got your rental trucks. U-Haul is always a huge source of extra income. And then fees. Make sure that you're enforcing those fees. You don't want to let them all slide. That's an easy way for a manager to stay in good graces with all of your tenants, but maybe they're letting things slide a little bit too much. So that's when you might want to do an audit and just keep on top of it. Decrease expenses. Another thing when Mike, Craig, and I are analyzing a property, we often come back to the owners and say, you know what, look at these credit card charges. They're a little bit high compared to what we're seeing on the industry average. And often they can go negotiate with whoever their merchant services are or find another one. Insurance is another one. And Kevin Morrison, I know he's here somewhere.
Back here.
There we go. Great resource for insurance, you know. Have him take a look at your insurance and make sure that you're not overpaying, but also make sure that you get the right coverage. If anyone is using Yellow Pages, I think Ann will come out and personally kill you. I'm just teasing. But Yellow Pages is definitely outdated. I know there are definitely rural markets that still do use them, but if you are using Yellow Pages, it is a very large expense that can easily be eliminated. And believe it or not, we do still find many property owners that do use Yellow Pages, and it's not really needed. Kiosks and call centers are another big source, or big change that we're seeing in the storage market, where you may not have a manager on full time, or you may have a manager and a kiosk if it's a very busy property. We are all moving more and more to the electronic or to our cell phones, and you can actually rent a unit, pay a late bill, open a gate with a cell phone, as well as kiosks, et cetera, et cetera. Just things to look into. Definitely decreases your salaries. And let's see, push back on property taxes. If you're not appealing your property taxes, this is something you definitely should look into. And again, we have lots of vendors that can help you with this. So when Mike or Craig and I look at anybody's facility, we'll analyze a property for you and give you a valuation, which most of the times you're not looking to sell. This is a great industry to be in. You're selling if you have a reason. But what we can do is help you in understanding, making sure that you are not spending too much of your expenses, and also maybe able to identify a few places where you could be increasing your income. All right, last one, expansion. If you have excess land, look at first adding parking. Second, can you put up some covered parking? Add an expansion, whether it's climate control or drive up. A lot of the in-town units here, or a lot of the in-town properties don't have drive up anymore. So everyone's building climate controlled beautiful buildings, but we're starting to see a little bit of a shortage of some drive up units in market. So keep that in mind. Is there a piece of land that you can acquire nearby that you can manage remotely from your main office? another place, you know, might be able to get that cheaply and then really turn that into some good income. Convert some on-premise sites. We've got a friend of mine's buying an existing office building, no, warehouse building and just converting it. So just look at those options. And then finally, if you do some of these things, this is just a quick look at P&L current and what you can do by adding capacity, adding ancillary income, decreasing some of your expenses. And I think everyone can see this from the back, I can go through them. But basically at a 7 cap, with just those tiny improvements, you've improved your property 25% of value. So you're going from 2.98 million to 3.75 million. And that's just a few little changes. So I know it's not easy to put changes in, but if you haven't analyzed your property in a while, it's a good idea. It's New Year, take a look at it and see what you can do. And as always, if we can help at all, or if anyone likes some rent survey booklets, please see me or Mike or Craig. Thank you.
Big thanks from GASSA to Stacy, Marcus Milchap, and Jason from SOS Systems for sponsoring today's luncheon, for allowing us to be here and helping offset some of the costs. I know we all came today in the packed houses for Miss Ann Ballard from Universal Storage Group for her year in review. So without further ado, I'll introduce Ann, who's going to go up and give her breakdown of last year for USG's numbers.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ann. Thank you.
Well, since today is February the 12th, and this week we have Valentine's Day, and many of you may have forgotten about your Valentine, so we thought we'd come to the rescue and do a few unique things this year. Our big winner's going to get this box, and then we have 2 other Godiva chocolate boxes, and this year we're going to have you participate. So how many people in the room do not have a smartphone? If you do not have a smartphone, go ahead, we won't laugh at you. Let us know. Or maybe you did not bring your smartphone with you today. Is there anyone who did not bring their smartphone with them today? Because I've got 5 of these for y'all, for the ones who might answer. So everybody in the room has a smartphone? Left yours at home, okay.
Mine still has his BlackBerry.
Oh, you still have a BlackBerry? I'll give you one too, Lynn. Hold on. Hold on. Pass that back to Mr. McGinty, if you would. Anyone else? Okay, so this year celebrates 20 years of this annual year-end survey, and it's hard to believe 20 years has gone by to Kevin, and as I look at the faces out there, Steve and Bo, and just the rest of you that I've known all of those years. But it's celebrating 20 years of doing this. Scott, you know, we were barely children when we started this, weren't we? So I thought what I'd do is something a little different. If you want to follow along and don't want to have to use paper, go to universalstoragegroup.com, hit the About USG tab. So raise your hands when you've completed that. All right, Jason and Sarah Beth, I will get my lovely assistants up here to help. When you get to the About USG tab, go to the very bottom of that page and you will see USG 2018. And you have to each give them a pen. So y'all divide those up. So to win the chocolates today, we have a 20-question questionnaire that I'm going to talk about during this presentation. And if you bring me this paper with all of them correctly done, we'll have a drawing amongst all the ones that are correct for the number 1 prize, number 2, and number 3. So you have a chance to win some chocolates and reinforce what we're going to talk about today. Okay, last chance. I have 3 more paper copies for anybody who might not have brought their smartphone. If you want to be that next person to admit that you need a paper copy, I have 3 more I can give out. David, you can have one. You're welcome. Okay, universalstoragegroup.com. Go to the menu, which is the bunch of bars up in the corner. Hit the About USG. At the bottom of that page, you'll see USG 2018. takes a minute to load. So this gives you access to all of these slides. There you go. Everybody got that loaded up? We're ready to have some fun?
It should
No.
be a purple one. Sometimes if you just click real quick, it won't go to the right one. It's the purple one.
Give this to Gary Farmer. He's going to be a troublemaker. So go ahead and pass this.
I got it. I'm coming.
Bo, you're somebody I've known forever. Pass that one back to Bo. Take my last copy. All right, let's jump in and get started. So remember, fill those blanks in, bring them up to me. I've got my cheat sheet ready. And at the end of the program, as the board goes off to their board meeting, we'll award some wonderful chocolates to some winners today. Now, something I thought a little interesting, I take a lot of the data that I bring you from the annual Self-Storage Almanac. It's published by Minico, who publishes the Mini Storage Messenger, also publisher of my book, The Hat Lady Speaks, on Marketing and Managing Self-Storage. And by the way, my Amazon and Kindle sales have really gone up in the last year. Yay, Amazon and Kindle. They publish the Almanac. It's a statistical survey of our industry. This year they partnered with Union Real Time and the SSA Demand Study 2017. Their data sets are very different this year. It was a little freaky when I first started working on this about a month and a half ago, because now they're using actual counts, not estimations, as they have used in the past. So some of you might see some of this data and think it looks a little off, but it's because they're using some real numbers now, not their guesstimates, which is a little bit more accurate. But I get all kinds of national self-storage reports. Like this is one from Yardi Matrix, and Stacy's group, where did Stacy go? Oh, there she is. Stacy's group helps me get data through Marcus and Millichap every year. They do some wonderful things. Union Real Time is another company that would get radius reports on different sites and who their competitors are and what current rents are. We're doing a lot of rent scraping now. Anybody else doing rent scraping of your competitors? Every day I get a daily report that scrapes all the rents that are out there on the web for that location. And we're just about to send that out to live to all the managers every day. We started with our Charlotte stores since they've been hit the hardest and most important. So keeping up with what's going on in our industry is important to all of us. So I just thought a couple of tidbits I would read you from this latest Yardi report before we begin. Yardi has been tracking nearly 2,000 properties in the pipeline. 741 under construction, 928 planned, 317 prospective, along with 430 that were abandoned. Like Mike and I, we are always hearing about I'm going to build one here and there and everywhere, and not all of those ones that are announced make it to the street, as Mike would be a very good person to tell you so. Judith also would be able to tell you that. But a couple of things that have impacted some of this overbuilding, as we've seen in certain markets. Nationwide, units under construction and in the planning stages accounts for 9.4% of the existing inventory last month in January. So in Nashville, 23.7% of inventory is being added to the Nashville supply. So you can just see what's going on in these top 50 markets. It's just booming. In Atlanta, we added 11.9% to our supply in 2018. And we have 11.2% of the supply projected to be added now. That's impacting rents, isn't it? As I can show you in some other data that I brought for you today, Atlanta is a lot more stable than a lot of the rest of the markets where we've seen rents decline. We were down a couple of percentage points in overall rental rates. Jasmine, I'm sure you've seen that at your properties here. I know we have. Where's the young lady from Love Properties?
Right here.
There you are. And I'm sure y'all have seen it too, and all of us that manage properties, when you get a big amount of oversupply, rents are going to go down. So just a few things to keep you on your toes and in touch with what's happening. So that's what I've tried to bring you in this year's annual review, is a touch point of what's happening, what we see as trends, and what's going on day to day. So Georgia is shown, I guess I should use this microphone so I don't call her. Oh, well, there you go. Let's turn it loose. Georgia is shown as having the 1,502 facilities. Now, that is down 20 million square feet lower than the previous year's data set. But because this year it's based on actual as opposed to estimated, it's probably a lot more factual. Also shown about 5.82 square feet per person. You know, last year and the year before that, we were talking about numbers from 8 to 10 square feet per capita around the country, and very common even some places here in Georgia. Atlanta, again, is number 6 in the metro top 100 core business statistical areas with 739 facilities, or 6.54 square feet per capita. 37 new projects were added last year, and there's an average of about 50,000 net square feet per property now. The national average is coming in at 5.4 square feet per capita of self-storage absorption. Now, to me, that's kind of shocking, because we were seeing those 7 and 8 square feet numbers hitting us all day long for the last 3 or 4 years. The national average occupancy rate for 2018 in the second quarter was 91.7%, and here in the southeast at 89.3%. And do remember that it's union real-time data in conjunction with Self-Storage Association's 2017 demand study. How many of you order and digest that demand study like we do? It's about the most bone-dry reading you'll ever see in your life, but there is some incredibly valuable data in there for an operator or an owner or someone who wants to get into the business. Now, let's, David, you want to be my clicker? Okay. I'll talk, you click. Click. So here's the summary of data from the Almanac this year. We've got about 45,547 facilities nationally. That's up 1,398 from the year before around the country. That gives us about 484 units per property and 37,000 net rentable square feet. That's a smaller average size store than we have seen in prior years. We were seeing about 40,000 net rentable square feet, but I guess if they're using the actuals and there are so many small properties out there, it's brought that average down. That gives us the 1.7 billion square feet, or 5.4 per person. What I found very interesting this year is that the national average 10 by 10 climate and drive-up rates were a lot more realistic to what we were all seeing here in Georgia and some of the other top southeastern markets that we work in. So $105 is the national 10 by 10 average rate. That's significantly down. And here in the South Atlantic, we're actually a little higher for the first time ever for our drive-up 10 by 10s, now $106. Jasmine, that sound about right to you? It does to us too. Mike, is that about what y'all are seeing? They do the rent survey every year in Georgia, so it'd be a great one to compare this to. And the national average 10 by 10 climate rate coming in at $131. That's fully about $10 or $11 lower than the previous year, because of all the saturation in these top 50 markets. Here in the South Atlantic, our average for climate 10 by 10 was about $130. Raj, is that close to what you're getting? Let me pick on you a minute.
That sounds about right.
Okay. Now, a very interesting thing is at the bottom of this slide, the national rates per square foot for the different sizes. Every one of these size codes, average rates went down. So you can see significantly, like the 10 by 20 non-climate was about $1 last year. Now it's coming in at 79 cents. Now we have not experienced this level of decline in rental rates across our own portfolio fully, only just in some spots. All right, this is your clicker. Forward. Now let's take a look at this new development. In 2016, 26 million square feet was added. In 2017, a record year, everybody was amazed, 49 million net rentable square feet. But 2018 delivered 60 million square feet. Now, 19 is forecast to equal 18, and in 20 it's going to drop slightly. So over 60% of the new supply is in these top 50 markets around the country. So if we're only dealing with the top 50 markets, what does that make cities like Covington look like? Or Brunswick, Georgia, or Macon or any of the others. Those are certainly second and tertiary markets, not impacted the way that Atlanta might be. If you're assuming a 3-year lease up, which was always kind of the benchmark, then 8.6% of facilities are in lease up last year and 13% in lease up this year. For next year, 2020, it's going to be 12%. So that's over almost half again what we experienced last year in 2018 that we're going to be hit with next year in 2020 as far as the numbers of properties in lease up. So if you change that dynamic to a 2-year lease up, those rates are going to change drastically. In other words, the lease up's going to be faster, so the drop off is going to be quicker. So let's hope everybody has a 2-year lease up. And if you want to look at the supply increase, in 2018, the supply increase was 4.6%, 19 is going to be 4.8%, and 20 is going to be forecast to be a 3% supply increase. You just can't maintain that level of growth and hope to have any kind of reasonable market out there. Any of you surrounded by new competitors other than Ben Bowen? Where did Ben go? Is he still there?
Here.
Oh, you're over there now.
Surrounded by competitors.
Yeah, surrounded by competitors. But he's had quite